The skies above Earth darkened as the massive alien armada descended, their ships blotting out the sun. Thousands of vessels, sleek and menacing, filled the horizon. The Galactic Union had arrived, and their message was clear: Earth was to surrender immediately or face annihilation. The Union had conquered countless worlds, and humanity was just another name on their list. On the ground, panic spread like wildfire. Governments scrambled to respond, but the sheer scale of the invasion was overwhelming. The aliens, confident in their superiority, gave humanity a mere 24 hours to comply. Their leader, a towering figure with a voice like thunder, declared, "Resistance is futile. Your world is ours." But humanity had faced impossible odds before. Deep in a hidden facility, a group of scientists and engineers worked tirelessly on a project that had been dismissed as a fantasy by many. It was called the Unity Initiative, a last-ditch effort to unite the world's greatest minds and resources. The goal was simple: to create something that could challenge the might of the Galactic Union. As the clock ticked down, the team made a breakthrough. They had developed a weapon unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. It wasn't a bomb or a laser, but a device that could manipulate the very fabric of spacetime. The scientists called it the Harmony Engine, and it had the potential to turn the tide of the war. But there was a catch. The Harmony Engine required a massive amount of energy to activate, more than any single power source on Earth could provide. The team realized they would need to harness the energy of the entire planet to make it work. It was a risky plan, but with the Armada closing in, they had no other choice. As the deadline approached, the leaders of the world gathered to make a decision. The fate of humanity hung in the balance. Would they surrender and live as slaves, or would they risk everything for a chance at freedom? The decision was unanimous. Humanity would fight. The Harmony Engine was activated, and the world held its breath. The device began to hum, its power growing with each passing second. The alien armada, sensing the disturbance, moved to attack. But before they could strike, the Harmony Engine unleashed its full power. A wave of energy swept across the planet, enveloping everything in its path. The alien ships, caught in the wave, began to falter. Their advanced technology, designed to conquer worlds, was no match for the raw power of the Harmony Engine. As the wave subsided, the skies cleared. The alien armada, once a formidable force, was now in disarray. Their ships drifted aimlessly, their systems overloaded by the energy surge. The Galactic Union, for the first time in their history, had been defeated. But the battle was far from over. The Union would not take this defeat lightly, and humanity knew that they had only bought themselves a brief reprieve. The war for Earth was just beginning, and the galaxy would soon learn that humanity was not to be underestimated. The silence that followed the activation of the Harmony Engine was deafening. Across the globe, people stared at the skies, now clear of the alien armada. The once mighty ships of the Galactic Union floated lifelessly in orbit, their systems fried by the overwhelming energy surge. Humanity had struck back, and for the first time in living memory, the Union had been humbled. But the victory was bittersweet. The Harmony Engine had drained Earth's energy reserves to dangerous levels. Cities were dark, communication networks were down, and the world's infrastructure teetered on the brink of collapse. The scientists who had built the device warned that it could not be used again without risking catastrophic damage to the planet. Humanity had won a battle, but the war was far from over. The Galactic Union, however, was not one to accept defeat. Light years away, in the heart of their empire, the Union's leaders convened in a grand council chamber. The defeat at Earth was an unprecedented embarrassment, and their pride demanded retribution. The Union's High Commander, a cold and calculating figure, addressed the council. "This primitive species has dared to defy us," the High Commander growled. "They have shown ingenuity, but they are still insects compared to our might. We will crush them utterly and make an example of their world for the rest of the galaxy to see." The council agreed. A second, even larger fleet was assembled, this one equipped with advanced countermeasures to neutralize the Harmony engine's effects. The Union's best strategists were tasked with devising a plan to ensure Earth's total subjugation. Back on Earth, humanity was far from idle. The success of the Harmony engine had ignited a spark of hope, but it was clear that they could not rely on it again. The world's leaders, scientists, and military strategists came together in an unprecedented show of unity. They knew the Union would return, and they had to be ready. A global defense initiative was launched, codenamed Project Sentinel. Its goal was to create a network of defenses that could protect Earth from the Union's inevitable counterattack. Every nation contributed resources, technology, and manpower. Old rivalries were set aside as humanity united under a single banner: survival. Among the most promising developments was the discovery of alien technology left behind by the disabled Armada. Scattered across the planet were fragments of Union ships, their advanced systems still intact. Scientists worked around the clock to reverse engineer these technologies, hoping to level the playing field. One breakthrough came in the form of a new energy source, derived from the alien power cores. This energy was far more efficient than anything humanity had ever seen, and it offered a glimmer of hope for powering Earth's defenses without relying on the Harmony engine. As the days turned into weeks, the mood on Earth shifted from desperation to determination. The people of Earth knew they were facing an enemy far more powerful than themselves, but they also knew they had something the Union did not: the will to fight for their home, no matter the cost. When the Union's Second Fleet finally arrived, it was met with a sight that shocked even the most seasoned Union commanders. Earth was no longer a helpless target. It was a fortress, bristling with defenses and ready to fight back. The High Commander sneered as he gave the order to attack. Let them see the futility of their resistance. But as the Union fleet descended, humanity stood ready. The battle for Earth was about to begin anew, and this time, the galaxy would witness the true strength of a united humanity. The second wave of the Galactic Union's fleet arrived with a thunderous roar, their ships blotting out the stars once more. This time, their numbers were even greater, and their technology had been upgraded to counter the Harmony engine's effects. The Union had come prepared, and they were determined to leave no room for error. On Earth, the Global Defense Network, Project Sentinel, was fully operational. Satellites armed with energy-based weapons orbited the planet, while ground-based installations stood ready to fire. The reverse-engineered alien technology had been integrated into Earth's defenses, giving humanity a fighting chance. But everyone knew the odds were still stacked against them. The Union's High Commander, watching from the flagship, issued a chilling ultimatum. People of Earth, your defiance has amused us, but it ends now. Surrender, or we will reduce your world to ash. The response from Earth was immediate and resolute. A single message was broadcast to the Union fleet: we will never surrender. This is our home, and we will defend it to the last. The battle began with a barrage of energy beams from the Union ships, targeting key military installations and cities. But Earth's defenses held firm. The satellite network intercepted many of the attacks, while ground-based shields absorbed the rest. For every strike the Union launched, humanity retaliated with equal force. One of the most critical moments came when a Union warship attempted to land troops in a major city. The ship descended through the atmosphere, its hull glowing from the heat of re-entry. But before it could touch down, it was met with a concentrated blast from a newly developed plasma cannon. The ship exploded in a fiery burst, its wreckage scattering across the sky. The victory was short-lived, however. The Union quickly adapted their tactics, deploying smaller, faster ships that were harder to target. These ships began to overwhelm Earth's defenses, striking at vulnerable points and causing widespread damage. Amid the chaos, a team of engineers and soldiers worked on a daring plan. Using the alien technology they had reverse-engineered, they had built a prototype weapon capable of disrupting the Union's communication systems. If they could disable the fleet's coordination, they might be able to turn the tide of the battle. The team infiltrated a disabled Union ship that had crash-landed during the initial attack. Inside, they found a working communication array. After hours of intense work, they managed to link the array to their prototype weapon. With a deep breath, they activated the device. A pulse of energy surged through the Union fleet, scrambling their communication signals. Ships that had been moving in perfect formation suddenly began to drift, their pilots confused and disoriented. The High Commander, realizing what had happened, roared in frustration. Find the source of that pulse and destroy it. But it was too late. Earth's forces seized the opportunity, launching a counterattack that pushed the Union fleet back. The tide of the battle had shifted, if only temporarily. As the Union regrouped, humanity prepared for the next phase of the fight. They knew the Union would not retreat so easily, and the cost of victory would be high. But for the first time, they also knew something else: they could win. The galaxy watched in awe as humanity, a species once deemed insignificant, stood firm against one of the most powerful forces in the universe. The siege of Earth was far from over, but the message was clear: humanity would not go quietly into the night. The Galactic Union's fleet, though momentarily thrown into disarray by humanity's counterattack, quickly regained its composure. The High Commander, furious at the setback, ordered a full-scale assault on Earth's major cities. Burn their world to the ground, he commanded. Let them understand the cost of defiance. The Union ships unleashed a relentless barrage of energy weapons, targeting population centers and critical infrastructure. Cities that had once thrived with life were reduced to smoldering ruins. Millions perished, and the survivors were left to pick up the pieces. The devastation was unimaginable, but humanity refused to break. In the midst of the chaos, a small group of scientists and engineers made a discovery that would change everything. While studying the wreckage of a Union ship, they found a data core containing detailed schematics of the fleet's command structure. The core revealed a critical weakness: the Union's flagship, the Eclipse, was the central hub for all communication and coordination within the fleet. If the Eclipse could be destroyed, the entire Armada would be thrown into chaos. The problem was getting to it. The Eclipse was heavily guarded, and its advanced shielding made it nearly impervious to conventional attacks. But the scientists had an idea. Using the alien technology they had reverse-engineered, they proposed a daring plan: a stealth ship, equipped with a powerful EMP device, could infiltrate the Union fleet and disable the Eclipse's shields long enough for a concentrated strike to destroy it. The plan was risky, but it was humanity's best chance. A team of volunteers was assembled, consisting of the best pilots, engineers, and soldiers Earth had to offer. They trained tirelessly, knowing that the fate of their world rested on their shoulders. As the Union's assault intensified, the stealth ship, christened Shadowstrike, was launched. It slipped through the enemy lines undetected, its cloaking technology masking its presence. The crew moved with precision, their hearts pounding as they approached the Eclipse. Inside the flagship, the High Commander monitored the battle with grim satisfaction. Soon, he muttered, this world will be ours, and the galaxy will learn the price of resistance. But his confidence was shattered when alarms blared throughout the ship. The Shadowstrike had reached its target and deployed the EMP device. A massive pulse of energy surged through the Eclipse, overloading its systems and disabling its shields. On Earth, the command center received the signal. Now, the commander shouted. Hit them with everything we've got. Every available weapon was trained on the Eclipse. Energy beams, missiles, and plasma cannons converged on the flagship, tearing through its now exposed hull. The Eclipse erupted in a blinding explosion, its destruction sending shockwaves through the Union fleet. Without the Eclipse to coordinate their efforts, the Union ships fell into disarray. Some retreated, while others collided in their confusion. The High Commander's final transmission was a garbled scream of rage as his ship was consumed by fire. On Earth, cheers erupted as the Union fleet began to scatter. The Shadowstrike returned to a hero's welcome, its crew hailed as saviors. But the celebration was tempered by the knowledge that the war was not yet over. The Union had been dealt a devastating blow, but their empire spanned countless star systems. They would return, and humanity had to be ready. As the dust settled, the people of Earth looked to the stars with a newfound determination. They had proven that even against impossible odds, they could stand and fight. The galaxy had witnessed the strength of humanity, and the Union would soon learn that Earth was not a world to be trifled with. The destruction of the eclipse sent shockwaves far beyond Earth. News of humanity's victory spread rapidly across the galaxy, carried by traitors, rebels, and refugees who had long suffered under the Galactic Union's tyranny. For the first time in centuries, a species had not only resisted the Union but had also dealt them a crushing blow. On distant worlds, whispers of hope began to stir. Rebellions that had been crushed or suppressed saw a glimmer of possibility. If a single, isolated planet like Earth could stand against the Union, perhaps others could too. The Union's grip on the galaxy, once thought unbreakable, began to show cracks. Meanwhile, on Earth, the mood was one of cautious optimism. The immediate threat had been neutralized, but the cost had been immense. Cities lay in ruins, and millions had perished. The Global Defense Initiative, Project Sentinel, shifted its focus from immediate survival to long-term recovery and preparation. The scientific community worked tirelessly to improve upon the alien technology they had reverse-engineered. New ships, weapons, and defenses were designed and built at an unprecedented pace. Humanity was no longer fighting just to survive, they were fighting to ensure that the Union would never threaten them again. Among the most significant developments was the creation of the Stellar Vanguard, a fleet of advanced warships powered by the alien energy cores. These ships were faster, stronger, and more versatile than anything humanity had ever built. They were a symbol of Earth's resilience and determination, and they would soon be put to the test. The Galactic Union, however, was not idle. The loss of the eclipse and the humiliation at Earth had shaken their empire to its core. The Union's leaders convened an emergency council, their debates heated and fraught with tension. Some argued for an immediate, overwhelming assault on Earth to crush humanity once and for all. Others warned that such an attack could further unite the galaxy against them. In the end, the council reached a decision. A new fleet, larger and more powerful than any before, would be assembled. This time, there would be no ultimatums, no warnings. The Union would strike with full force, leaving no room for resistance. As the Union prepared its next move, Earth received an unexpected visitor. A small, unmarked ship entered the atmosphere, its design unlike anything humanity had seen before. The ship landed in a remote area, and its sole occupant emerged, a representative of the Galactic Resistance, a coalition of species that had long fought against the Union in secret. The representative, a tall, slender figure with shimmering blue skin, addressed Earth's leaders. "Your victory has inspired us," they said. "The Union fears you, and that fear is our greatest weapon. Join us, and together we can bring an end to their tyranny." The offer was tempting, but it came with risks. Aligning with the resistance would make Earth a target not just for the Union, but for any who sought to curry favor with the Empire. Yet, the alternative was to face the Union alone, a prospect that seemed increasingly untenable. After much deliberation, Earth's leaders agreed to form an alliance with the Resistance. The decision was not made lightly, but it was clear that humanity's fight was no longer just for Earth. It was for the freedom of the entire galaxy. As the Resistance representative departed, Earth began to prepare for the next phase of the war. The Stellar Vanguard was mobilized, and new alliances were forged. The galaxy was watching, and humanity was ready to prove that their victory was no fluke. The Union's next attack would come soon, but this time, Earth would not stand alone. The alliance between Earth and the Galactic Resistance marked a turning point in the war. For the first time, humanity was no longer fighting in isolation. The Resistance provided valuable intelligence, advanced technology, and, most importantly, a network of allies across the galaxy. Together, they began to plan a coordinated strike against the Galactic Union's key strongholds. The Union, however, was not blind to these developments. Their spies within the Resistance reported Earth's involvement, and the Union's leaders grew increasingly desperate. They knew that if Earth and the Resistance succeeded in uniting the galaxy's oppressed species, their empire would crumble. A preemptive strike was ordered, targeting Earth and its newfound allies simultaneously. The Union's fleet descended on Earth with unprecedented ferocity. Thousands of ships filled the skies, their weapons raining destruction on the planet's defenses. But this time, humanity was ready. The Stellar Vanguard, Earth's new fleet of advanced warships, engaged the enemy in orbit, their sleek designs and powerful weapons cutting through the Union's forces. On the ground, Resistance fighters joined Earth's soldiers in defending key installations. The battle was fierce, with neither side willing to yield. Cities became war zones, and the skies were lit with the flashes of energy weapons and the explosions of falling ships. Amid the chaos, a small team of Resistance operatives and human soldiers embarked on a critical mission. Intelligence had revealed the location of a Union superweapon, a planet-killing device capable of annihilating entire worlds. The weapon was housed in a heavily fortified station near the edge of Union-controlled space. If it could be destroyed, it would deal a devastating blow to the Union's war effort. The team, aboard a modified Resistance ship, slipped past Union patrols and reached the station undetected. They infiltrated the facility, their movements swift and precise. But as they neared the superweapon's core, they were ambushed by Union forces. A fierce firefight erupted, the station's corridors echoing with the sounds of blaster fire and shouts. Despite the odds, the team pressed on. They reached the core and planted explosives, setting the timer for a mere 5 minutes. As they made their escape, the station's alarms blared, and Union reinforcements closed in. The team fought their way back to their ship, their numbers dwindling with each step. With seconds to spare, the ship launched, its engines roaring as it sped away from the station. Behind them, the superweapon's core detonated, the explosion tearing the station apart in a blinding flash of light. The shockwave rippled through space, sending nearby Union ships spiraling out of control. The destruction of the superweapon was a major victory, but the cost was high. Many of the team's members had sacrificed their lives to complete the mission. Their bravery, however, would not be forgotten. Back on Earth, the tide of the battle began to turn. The Union's fleet, demoralized by the loss of their superweapon, started to retreat. The Stellar Vanguard pursued them, driving the enemy forces out of Earth's orbit. As the dust settled, Earth and its allies celebrated their hard-fought victory. But they knew the war was far from over. The Union would regroup, and their next attack would be even more brutal. Yet, for the first time, humanity felt a sense of hope. They were no longer alone in their fight. The galaxy was rising, and together, they could bring an end to the Union's tyranny. The final battle was on the horizon, and humanity would be ready. The destruction of the Union's superweapon and the retreat of their fleet marked a turning point in the war, but the final battle was yet to come. The Galactic Union, though weakened, was far from defeated. Their leaders, desperate to maintain control, gathered their remaining forces for one last, massive assault. Their target, Earth, the symbol of resistance and the heart of the growing rebellion. Earth and its allies, however, were prepared. The Stellar Vanguard had been reinforced with ships from the Galactic Resistance, and new defenses had been erected across the planet. The alliance had grown stronger, with more species joining the fight against the Union's tyranny. The galaxy was united, and the stage was set for the final confrontation. When the Union's fleet arrived, it was a sight to behold. Thousands of ships, their hulls gleaming in the light of the sun, descended upon Earth. But this time, humanity and its allies were ready. The stellar vanguard surged forward to meet the enemy, their weapons blazing. The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Ships clashed in orbit, their energy weapons lighting up the void of space. On the ground, resistance fighters and human soldiers fought side by side, repelling Union forces that attempted to land. The skies were filled with the roar of engines and the explosions of falling ships. It was chaos, but it was a chaos born of hope and determination. Amid the battle, a small strike team infiltrated the Union's flagship, the Titan's Wrath. Their mission was to disable the ship's command systems, throwing the Union fleet into disarray. The team, a mix of humans and resistance fighters, moved swiftly through the ship's corridors, their every step bringing them closer to their goal. They reached the command center, where the Union's High Admiral was directing the battle. A fierce firefight erupted, but the team's training and resolve saw them through. They disabled the ship's systems, and the Titan's Wrath fell silent, its massive form drifting helplessly in space. With their flagship disabled, the Union fleet began to falter. Ships that had once moved with precision now drifted aimlessly, their commanders unsure of what to do. The stellar vanguard seized the opportunity, pressing the attack with renewed vigor. On Earth, the people watched as the tide of the battle turned in their favor. Cheers erupted as Union ships began to retreat, their once mighty fleet reduced to a scattered remnant. The High Admiral, realizing the futility of their efforts, issued a final, desperate order: retreat. Regroup and prepare for. The transmission was cut short as the Titan's Wrath was destroyed, its hull torn apart by a concentrated barrage from the stellar vanguard. The explosion lit up the sky, a final, blinding symbol of the Union's defeat. As the last of the Union's ships fled, the galaxy erupted in celebration. Earth had not only survived but had emerged victorious. The Union's grip on the galaxy was broken, and the oppressed species of the galaxy were free to forge their own destinies. In the aftermath, Earth became a beacon of hope and unity. The alliance between humanity and the galactic resistance grew stronger, and a new era of cooperation and peace began. The galaxy, once ruled by fear, was now a place of possibility. And as the people of Earth looked to the stars, they knew that their journey was just beginning. The galaxy was vast, and there were countless worlds to explore, countless stories to tell. But one thing was certain: humanity had proven that even in the face of overwhelming odds, they could rise, fight, and win. The galaxy would never forget the day that Earth stood tall and changed the course of history.